Reprogram Your Mind, Change Your Life, right? It's a transformational program toward greater peace, joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment. So basically, Eric, I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening 3 years ago, 3 years and 3 days ago. It was the date. On Saturday was my rebirth day. And I've gone through a lot of healing and things since then and learned a lot. And so I'm just here sharing that with everyone. Okay, session number 4. All right, so the agenda today is going to be, first of all, thank you. And then we're going to briefly revisit level 3 from last time, which was the topic of others and the external world. And then today's topic is exploring energy. Okay. Okay, so I want to thank you all for your engagement and your attention, especially after editing the video from last week. I was just blown away that everyone had really good things to share with us. And it's really important so that you soak everything in and you can relate these topics to your own life and make changes in your life. What Kevin is doing is really special and uncommon for an employer, okay? So he's investing in you personally, which will help you in all areas of your life, as well as the team here. So I really want to emphasize that it's a rare thing what Kevin is doing as an employer by investing in your personal development in this way. So I just hope that you all recognize that. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to be here and for your engagement and participation.
Thank you for coming and sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. So last time we talked about others and the external world, which we have the list here of the topics, but what I'm going to pull up is the recap sheet. So I sent that to Kevin, so he'll be printing that and putting it up soon. So this is a little bit small. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so last time the topic was others and the external world. So we talked about, first of all, letting go of control. There's very little in life that we can control. So we have the most control over ourselves, while that is usually a work in progress for most people, right? So that's where we have the most control, and still that's even hard to control. The point there, right? If someone felt unsafe growing up, right, because we talked a lot about programming, then that person may then try to control everything because then they'll feel safe. But there's so much you can't control, right? We can guide or influence others, but we can't force them to learn their lessons and grow. That was a lot of what we talked about last time too. Okay, then we talked about expectations. Expectations of other people and situations can cause suffering, especially if not communicated, right? We need to become aware of our unconscious expectations and adjust them where needed, right? So the main points there are to realize what our expectations are and make sure that we're communicating them with the people involved in our expectations. Radical acceptance. Radical meaning thorough or all-encompassing. Because we can control little, we must accept a lot. So those go hand in hand. We can work to change things while at the same time accepting what is, right? Because if we're resisting, then that's not going to get us anywhere. We're going to stay stuck if we're resisting. Okay, and then we talked about acceptance and compassion for others. As we are all unique, we must accept that others are different from us. Have compassion when considering others' experiences that have shaped them that we don't even know, right? Like things that people have been through that we don't even know. What challenges and traumas have made them the way that they are? Others' negative behaviors towards us are usually about them and not about us. And we take the high road by accepting others who may not even accept us. Okay, radical acceptance and compassion for others. And then we talked about forgiveness. Release the chains of not forgiving others, which only hurts yourself. Right? If you're holding on to that, that's just negativity that's holding you back. You also have to forgive yourself too for having unmet expectations and ideals related to things outside of your control, right? So forgive yourself for having that expectation that the other person didn't fulfill. Forgive yourself for making this ideal that isn't what actually happened. Okay. And we talked a lot about last time. So there's a reminder at the bottom. Growth requires effort, right? You can't get to the top of the mountain by standing at the bottom. You have to put in the work. And this work isn't easy, you guys. So I commend all of you for the little or the lot that you're doing with this information, because it's hard to dig inside and uncover that buried stuff so that you can work through it and become a better you and break your patterns and share more love. Okay, anything anyone wants to talk about in terms of others in the external world? The recap from last time. No? No? Okay. All right, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. Okay. Everything is energy. Okay, no, exploring energy. The first topic of it is everything is energy or vibration or frequency, right? Last time you asked, I mentioned something about low vibe and you were like, what's that? Well, energy, vibrations, frequency, it's all interchangeable words, okay? So I'm going to play this YouTube video. It's just a 4-minute video from Dr. Bruce Lipton. And one of his famous quotes is, and it totally relates to everything that we're doing. The moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body. Okay, so this is just 4 minutes. All right, again, we've got Dr. Bruce Lipton here. This video is called Everything is Energy.
Did you ever wonder if there's anything more to the human than this physical body that we have? Well, it's really interesting because when we go back in history, they talk about something called spirit and energy and an invisible force that seems to be controlling who and what we really are. Quantum physics emphasizes that the universe is not really split into two realms, a material realm and an energetic realm. Quantum physics reveals that everything is made out of energy. What we perceive as matter is actually an illusion of energy and light, that there is nothing physical. And what do you mean? I said, well, first of all, a very simple fact. When physicists started to take the atom apart and find there were things inside, such as protons, neutrons, and electrons, then they said, yeah, but what are those things made out of? Then they got down to smaller things like quarks. And I said, yeah, but what were they made out of? And ultimately, what physicists recognized was at the fundamental core of an atom, there is nothing material at all. It's an energy vortex. It's a powerful energy field. And that all atoms are these energy fields. And the significance about that is, well, atoms make up humans. And so by definition, we perceive ourselves as physical structures, but according to quantum physics, we're energy vortices. Imagine the cell as a television set, and that the environmental signal, like a broadcast, is being picked up by the antennas on that television set. And therefore, the cell responds to that broadcast. Well, guess what? Everyone has a different set of antennas. So by definition, everyone is receiving a different broadcast field. Yeah, that's what physicists refer to as the energy in which we live. So all of us are in a field, but each one of us actually receives a very precise and specific part of that field different than everybody else. No two people share the same self-receptors. That's why we just can't exchange cells, organs, and tissues with each other. Now comes an interesting part. If the cell is like a television receiving a broadcast, then consider this. What happens if you're watching your TV and it breaks? We say the TV's dead. I go, yeah. But now the question is this, yes, the TV just died, but is the broadcast still there that I was watching? Yes, of course it's still there. The television's gone, the broadcast is present. I say, how would you know? Well, one way of knowing, get another TV set, plug it in, turn it on, and tune it to the right station, and the show is back on air. Well, this would apply directly to humans as well. I have an identity due to a set of receptors receiving an environmental signal. If I die, I have no more reception, and therefore my broadcast exists, but there's no TV to express it. If an embryo shows up in the future with the same set of self-receptors that I have, well, then guess what? I'm back online in a different TV. Does it have to be a male or female TV? No, that's the TV. Well, how about, is it black, white, brown, red, yellow? No, that's the TV. That's not who you are. You are the broadcast. Lastly, it's important to note that the character that you express in this life is actually sent back to your source, because your brain is not keeping your consciousness in your head, because magnetoencephalographs, unlike electroencephalographs, magnetoencephalographs read your brain function, but the probes don't even touch your head. It's a very important concept right here. Your thoughts are not contained in your head. They're broadcast into the field. And as Einstein emphasized, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle, matter. And then we put all of this together and it says, your biology is an expression of this matter, but it's actually shaped by the field, a field that exists whether you're here or not. And then all of a sudden, the ancient story of spirituality now conforms to the modern day science of quantum physics. You're a field, you're a spirit, you're more than this. I mean, to understand that, it is the first step towards your personal empowerment.
Okay. Yeah, for me, once I started digging into quantum physics and stuff, in school, we learned an atom has protons, neutrons, and electrons, and that was it, right? Well, they're like, well, no, it goes down to quarks. And then, quarks go down to pure energy. And then I also looked into, because they talk a lot in quantum physics about dark matter and dark energy. So every cell is made up 95% of dark matter and dark energy. It's only 5% what they call ordinary matter. So like the skin cells, the physical, is only 5% of each atom. So the other 95% is nothing. Right? So that's where he's saying we're made up of pretty much energy. Okay, so next, I want to show you this picture of the electromagnetic spectrum, okay? So if you can't see up there, so we've got here, so here's waves at the top, right? So increasing energy, and I'm sorry, I blew this picture up and it made it kind of fuzzy. So these are the waves, right? So you've got the highest energy over here, which is the highest frequency in hertz. Okay, and then the lowest energy over here. So bigger wavelengths, longer wavelengths, lower energy, or shorter wavelengths, higher energy, right? Versus. Okay, now the important thing to note here is visible light. What we can see makes up, this is a shocking fact, okay? 0.0035%, okay? 0.0035% of all this electromagnetic spectrum is what we can see. So 99.9865 is what we can't see. So the bulk of energy we can't see. Okay, so I thought that was really interesting too. And the other interesting takeaway here for me is that we've got the low energy on the right here in this picture as red and the high energy as blue. So whether this is flipped, you know, whether you got high energy over here, high energy over there, right? The red is low and the blue is high. And for anyone who's familiar with chakras, apparently there are spinning wheels of energy inside of us, energy centers, and they're said to start at our tailbone and go above our head. There's 7 of them, and they go like the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, aqua, purple. Yes, it was in the video at the end. And so similarly, right, low energy at the bottom, high energy at the top. So I thought that was really interesting. And what Bruce Lipton was kind of hinting at that we'll talk about in later sessions is that like everything is energy, everything has consciousness, and that's how we're all connected. That's how telepathy works, things like that. Okay. All right, so getting back. So the first was everything is energy or vibrations or frequencies. And now I want to show you the chart of emotions and vibrations. We touched on this a bit last time, but I want to go over this a little bit more in the context of this discussion. And Kevin, I think you printed this out, right? Okay, cool. So I've seen this chart in a bunch of different ways, but I really like this spiral image. So this chart is showing lower vibrations and associated emotions with them. And then if we work our way up to the top, this is more positive emotions and vibrations. So again, at the bottom, working our way up, we've got powerlessness, insecurity, guilt, jealousy, hatred, rage, anger, worry, doubt, impatience, irritation, frustration, pessimism.
Anybody feeling any of those right now?
Feeling neutral right now.
Oh, okay. Neutral's better than not good.
Where's that gray line? That's good.
Mm-hmm. Neutral. It does say boredom is at neutral. And then that's okay. I wasn't trying to insinuate you were. And then moving up, we've got positive expectations, contentment, belief, hopefulness, optimism, enthusiasm, happiness, passion, eagerness, love, empowered, joy, freedom, right? So what I love about this is the spiral, right? Because I think we've all experienced spiraling down, right? I think that's easy to happen once you get negative. It's easy to get stuck there or go even deeper. I know you missed it, Eric, but I shared, you know, with you all that I was way down here. I was way down here, which is what led to the awakening. And I had to figure out how to pull myself back up. And so I love this picture that not only can you spiral down, you can propel yourself back up. And so I think that gives a lot of hope. And power, personal power over the situation, right? You're not stuck. You're not hopeless. You can do things to change it and spiral yourself back up. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you raise your frequency? Okay. So I'm going to list off a big list of things for you. Okay. But I want you to consider what brings you joy. Okay, so these are ways to raise your vibration, raise your frequency. These are things that I thought of. I looked on the internet and there's probably about 25 or 30 things here. Okay, so maybe you want to be alone. Maybe you want to be with or talk to others. Being in nature can help. connecting with nature, maybe a relaxing bath, playing with a pet or a child. I know I love snuggling my kitty. Exercising is great. Any kind of exercising, running, whatever. Reading a book. Music, maybe listening to music, playing music, creating music, dancing to music, singing music, laughing, smiling, creating art. The sunshine usually helps me feel better. Acts of kindness can help raise your vibration. Working on a passion project, meditating, praying, journaling, gratitude, affirmations, which we haven't talked about. That's like, I am this, I am that, like telling yourself things, saying it to yourself in the mirror, maybe. Cooking and or eating a good meal. Traveling and adventures. So those are just a few handfuls of ideas of ways to raise your vibration. But I think the first step is to become aware that you're not where you want to be. And then you can do something about it. Okay, any thoughts, any other ideas on ways to raise your vibration?
I'm about it, if it's an idea to raise it, but this might be an idea to make yourself self-aware that you're, that you're there, but it's, recognizing where you're at on this and, calling it out for what it is, just saying, okay, this is where I'm at. And it's not the end of the world, I'm still alive. I don't want to be in this area anymore. Like Steve Jobs has a thing, he used to wake up every day and look himself in the mirror and he would say, am I ready to do what I'm about to set out today to do? Some version of that. And when he'd answer himself no too many days in a row, he would realize that he needs to make some sort of changes. And so it's holding himself responsible for where he's at on this chart, so it's not holding anyone else responsible. It's where am I at? I'm responsible for being here. I'm also responsible for being where I want to go.
That's a good one, Kevin. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's how to raise your vibration. Okay. Next. Oh, sorry. There we go. Raising your vibration. I also call that filling your cup. Okay. Which can also be thought of like a battery. Okay. So consider, is your battery being charged or drained, right? Is your cup filling up or pouring out? Okay. So think about what, while I'll say fill your cup, I like the idea of a battery. I think that makes more sense. It's an easier analogy, right? So what charges your battery? What drains your battery? Okay. Who, what, where, all of these things. So you have to be mindful and aware of what's pulling you in each direction. Now, a common saying is you can't pour from an empty cup. But I like to say that you should only share the overflow. Fill your cup. Keep filling your cup. Keep filling your cup. What overflows, that's what you share. Okay? So you're putting your needs first. Not that you're being selfish, but I think a lot of us need to be kinder to ourselves, love ourselves more, put our needs first more often. Okay, so share the overflow. Okay, now how do you protect or cleanse your energy? So first we're going to talk about protecting your energy. You have to become aware of what, who, and where drains you. Okay, so I added the where, right? What? So situations, who, certain people, where. Like literally where I grew up, I don't physically like going to that town. It's just the energy. I don't know if it's because of the effed upness of my teenage years, or, I mean, it's a town that's been sad for decades. They lost industry, okay? So what, who, and where is draining you? So be mindful of that. Know that you can try to influence a situation, but like if somebody's draining you, do your best to influence the situation. But if the other person isn't changing, or you can't change the situation, then you might want to opt for boundaries or distance, right? So I've shared with all of you, you know, my situation with my dad, right? He doesn't accept me, and all this other stuff. So I tried boundaries in a dozen or two different ways. I tried to tell him, you know, please don't treat me like that. I would like you to treat me like this. Please don't say those things in front of me. I don't appreciate that, blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't listening. And it just got escalated and escalated. So I had to distance myself. And that's okay, to protect your energy. Because if not, if you're allowing someone to keep draining you and draining you and draining you and draining you, then how are you going to be the best you? Okay. So next I have a quote for you from Brene Brown, which is one of my favorite influencers. She talks a lot about vulnerability. Okay, she says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. Okay, so again, there's that theme of loving yourself so much, right? I talked about in session 2 about yourself, that love yourself as much or more than the person or object or thing that you love the most in this world. You need to love yourself just as much, if not more. Okay. So that's a little bit of a theme there. You know, setting boundaries is about the courage to love ourselves, even when it disappoints other people, and sharing the overflow of your cup. Okay. Some examples of low vibe could be complaining, gossiping, belittling. The obvious one, abuse or violence, that could be physical, mental, emotional. Sucking your energy. I call that an energy vampire. Or sabotaging behaviors. Those are just some examples of low vibe, right? Like I have some friends from high school that just want to sit around and talk smack, and no, thank you. I don't want to be anywhere near that. No. So other things you can do to protect your energy is white bubble exercise. Okay, so say you're going to something, or some people do this just even every day when they leave their house. Okay, what's really important here is belief and intention. Okay, everything is energy. Like Bruce Lipton said, your thoughts are going out there. They're not just inside your head. And this is why when I talked about the 4 agreements, agreement number 1 is speak impeccably about yourself and others, and that includes your thoughts, because it's going out there. It's going out into the field that affects everything. Okay. So the white bubble. Okay. So just imagine yourself and just put a bubble around yourself, however that makes sense to you, right? If you want to start at your head and drape it all the way down, you want to start at your feet, visualize this barrier shield bubble all around you. And then you're walking around all day and nothing can penetrate it. And have such strong conviction as you do it, right? Belief and intention. That's all that matters. Okay. I think I've shared with you guys, maybe I haven't, that I do energy work. And I learned some of it from the shaman man. And I asked him one time, I said, I can feel when you send to me, I can feel when I send to other people. How do I know if it's working? He said, you won't. But all that matters is belief and intention. If you believe you can, then who says you can't? And that's how I make miracles. I just do it. And sometimes it happens. So believe that you're doing it. Know that you're protected, and do the white bubble. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is whoever you believe in, right? Not trying to influence that. Everyone's open to their own beliefs. Ask for help if you need it, right? If you're in a tough situation, ask for help. I'll call in my ancestors, my spirit guides, archangels, that's what I believe in, and ask them for help. And some wild things have happened when I've done that. It usually works. It usually works. Yeah, right. I mean, these spiritual people say that we all have a spirit team, like a dozen spirits, whether they're animals, people that we know that have passed on, angels, God, whatever, that they're there 24/7, just waiting for us to ask. And we have to be specific, right? Because you ask generically, it might come in some way that isn't really what you want. So you have to be specific. That's some level 7 stuff right there. Belief. Yeah, I've got about 7 sessions of content, and that's like next level stuff, but of creating your reality. And belief is a huge part of that. And I spent a lot of time this year actually working on my beliefs, uncovering my subconscious beliefs that aren't serving me in order to flip them. Because as Kevin said, whatever you believe, that's going to bring about your life experiences. So if you believe that I'm always going to be broke, you're always going to be broke. You got to figure out how to flip that. And that's one that I'm still working on. But he's right. Whatever you believe is what you'll experience. So you got to dig in and figure out what those are. Flip any that aren't serving you.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. I've been working on that since February, consciously, let alone before that. It takes work, a lot of awareness, a lot of rewriting. Okay. So that was protecting your energy. So now let's talk about cleansing your energy, right? So you were with someone who drained you, okay? Not only all those things to fill your cup, but what can you do to clear negativity from you, okay? So a shower or a bath, water is very cleansing, okay? So get in the tub, get in the shower, cleanse yourself off. Believe that you're washing all that energetic grime off of you as you're doing it, okay? Salt can help. Maybe Epsom salt bath. Some people do Epsom salt scrubs, like literally scrub their skin with Epsom salt. Some people believe in putting a thin layer of salt around the perimeter of a building to protect it. So salt is good for cleansing. Or maybe you want to go to a salt cave. There's salt caves here and there. It's a room, all salt. You sit in there, really clears everything. Maybe smudging with sage or Palo Santo. So sage is a dried herb. A lot of people burn it, not flames, but smoke. And it's said to take all the negativity, and you want to have a window or a door open so that all the negative can go out with the smoke. Or maybe you want to use Palo Santo, which is a wood, does the same thing. Okay, so sage or Palo Santo for smudging. Or selenite. Selenite is a crystal mineral material that is referred to as liquid light. It clears all the negativity around it. It charges the other crystals, and there are other crystals for protection and cleansing. Or going to releasing into a flowing body of water. Okay, so going into nature, going to a body of water, not a standing body of water like a pond or a lake. Maybe a lake if there's like a good enough tide coming in and out. But I really like the idea of a creek or a river or an ocean. You can physically put your hands and feet into the water, and with your intention, let all your stuff go. Or you know, you don't have to physically be in the water. A friend of mine who's takes on a lot of external energy outside of herself, she was living near Washington DC when they stormed the Capitol a few years ago, and she took on all that energy. And she said there was a creek outside of her house, and she would lay in her bed and imagine it, everything that was coming in. She couldn't prevent it from coming in, but she would imagine it flowing through her, out of her feet into the creek and washing away. And my other friend had gone through a breakup, and then she went to the beach to get away for a little bit, and she literally sat with her hands and feet in the ocean to release all the pain from the breakup. So I very much believe in a flowing body of water for releasing whatever you want to let go. Okay, any questions, thoughts on cleansing your energy? Nope. Okay. And lastly, we're going to talk about energy ROI. ROI stands for return on investment. So it is a financial term. So think of it like this. Okay, if you're going to invest $10 in something, okay, maybe you'll get $20 back. Okay, you doubled your money. Maybe you'll get nothing back. You lost it all. Or maybe you get $100 back. Okay, you got 10 times your money. Which would you choose? 10, 0, or 100?
100.
Yeah, right? Okay, so that's return on investment, right? Where are you going to invest, in that case, your money to get the biggest bang for your buck? Okay, so think of that in terms of your energy. Where are your efforts yielding positive results? And where are they not? Okay. Your time and energy is very precious and limited. If you're using it on someone or something that isn't going anywhere, then you're wasting it. Okay, so here's a good example, right? You guys know that I sell crystals, and I'm working on launching the second business for this coaching stuff and the energy and the tarot. And last week, I spent hours on multiple days. I had about 30 of my biggest, most expensive pieces. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get people to buy these multi-$100 pieces, right? I had them on a big sale. I did a live. One person, my best customer, she claimed one. Okay. So it wasn't a complete bust. But then of these like 30, 40 pieces, I took weights and jotted it all down in kilograms and pounds. I took the 3 dimensions in inches, wrote all this down for every piece. What was the old price? What was the new price? I took pictures and videos of every piece outside in the sun. So I had to carry every piece out, take pictures and videos, carry it back in. It's took me hours, right? I posted it to my wall. I posted it to a group. Nothing. That's where this energy ROI hit me. And I'm like, but there's a lot of conversation and opportunities coming up in terms of this kind of work right now. So I'm like, what are you doing, Jackie? Nobody wants these expensive crystals. This isn't yielding you anything. You should be working on putting yourself out there and getting ready for the launch, because that's where the opportunities are right now. So that's my example of energy return on investment. Another example is say you have a friend, okay, who's in a complicated relationship with their partner, okay? They complain to you often, right? You give them suggestions, multiple different types of suggestions. They don't ever want to listen to you. They aren't willing to do anything different. They don't want to leave their partner. So what are you doing? Right? All of your energy, how many times trying to help them or help them feel better is getting nowhere. And what's interesting is I was that friend. My friend had to tell me, please don't bring up his name anymore. And I was like, what? And he and I talk about a lot of these things. And I was like, I get it, dude. I get it. We talk about this, where is your energy being used wisely and where is it? Isn't it? Cut it off if it's not yielding anything. And we're still really good friends. But I was like, at first I was like, wait, are you breaking up with me as my friend? And he was like, no. I was like, okay, I get it. Dozens of times he tried to tell me and I wasn't listening. Okay. So, energy return on investment. Notice where your efforts make a difference. Also, notice the patterns related to your efforts and the results, right? What type of people, maybe, what are the words I'm looking for? What type of people may be more open to hearing your suggestions? Maybe there's patterns there in their situation or their personality. And you have to use your intuition a lot with this too, which we will talk about intuition at a later session as well. But it's really important to be mindful of where you're putting your energy and is it getting you anywhere? And if it's not, then put it somewhere else. Bob and weave. And that was it for today. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, thank you. I hope that helped raise everyone's vibe. Haven't put the pressure on.
Well, I think, a lot of this stuff is permanent here. We're experiencing growth at the company. It's putting a lot of pressure on everyone. And, we have, you talk about the spiral. So,
Mhm.
it's easy to, as we get, we get just different feelings, right? We're going through our day and, it gets like today, right? Today's a busy day for everybody. I know some people were asking me to not have this meeting this morning because it's going to, cause the day for some people to be more stressful and longer. And, I think that stuff like this is important because it helps us all kind of come together to reset, to talk about what is actually important, right? What's important? You're important. You're the most important thing you own. Each one of you individually, each one of you, you're the most important to yourself. Okay. You have to know that, realize that, remember that, and sometimes set yourself back to zero and say, okay, the world is crazy right now. I'm alive. That's what matters first and foremost. Okay. If you have good health, if you can get up every day and you have good health, there's your next thing. Okay. And what does good health mean? Well, we all have different health issues, right? Sometimes it's not, they suck, but your health may be better than that person laying in bed that can't get out of bed, that wishes they could get out of bed. So you may be struggling yourself, but be thankful you have the struggle you have, because it could be worse. It could be a different struggle that you have not seen yet or you have not experienced yet. Because that struggle, I assure you, do not want. You want the struggles you have. There's a saying somewhere, it's like, if I could walk in someone else's shoes, I'd give them back in a second because I want to keep my own problems. I don't want your problems, right? Be thankful for your problems. They're making you the person that you are and, going to be tomorrow, that by going through and accepting what you're going through today. So, and then one of the things Jackie says, it's like, take these things to heart. Everything she's saying, you individually, you have, every one of us individually has control over yourself, no one else. So no matter what external circumstances is happening, you're able to, if you're self-aware, right? You gotta be self-aware, you gotta grow yourself. It's easy to get caught up. I call it the hustle and bustle of life, okay? It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle. You get going, at least in my experience in life, the true test and happiness is when you are just being open and honest with yourself, you know? If you think you can, you're probably right. If you think you can't, you're probably right. It comes down to self-belief.
Reminder, challenges are gifts, right? They bring lessons, knowledge, awareness, strengths. So we must embrace them. Even if you have to carry that bucket up the steps 190 times.
191 more.
All right, it's 9:30 on the dot. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And again, guys, I want you to recognize what Kevin's doing for all of you. You know, he actually cares about you all individually, and that's hard to say about employers these days. So I hope that you're grateful for being here with Kevin and each other and the opportunities around here.
Thanks.
Thank you.